Good afternoon. Patrick here, 8 questions with. Yeah. Hey, and I got it right this time. I didn't press on the wrong interview like I did yesterday. All right, that's improvement. So welcome to a early edition of 8 questions with. Anytime we do an early edition, chances are we're going someplace exotic, like the UK or Australia or New Zealand. Or something like that over in Europe somewhere. Um, today we will be talking with a very well respected horror tuber named Lisa Loves. And I've known Lisa for a little bit. Probably not engaged as I should have been, even though I love her channel. I've actually been there quite a few times. And I really have wanted to talk to her for a long time as well, because I think she has a really cool style on her channel. I really like listening to her talk horror, talking movies in general. She's very knowledgeable, and she has a very good insight on what she watches. She does watch what she watches every week, which I do look at that, and I comment on certain movies because she watches a lot of things. She watches a lot of horror that a lot of people don't, uh, which is always so much fun. It's sort of boring going to some people's channels and all you see is what's currently playing at the cinema. I like the channels that go deep into the past, that brings out classic films that people don't talk about. And so I really enjoy looking at her channel. And I can tell you this, I will be there a lot and leaving more comments than ever because her channel is just that good. And hopefully we can do a collaboration down the line because I would really like to do something like that with Lisa. I would really like to team up and do something. Um, Actually, what would be really cool is to see Lisa and someone like Gory B Movie combined and do a collaboration because those two ladies are powerhouses, and that would be a lot of fun to watch. Um, uh, but I also want to sort of talk a little bit about this too. This is something I don't rarely bring up, and it's interesting, but I really wanted to touch bases with it because I really haven't known anybody on the tube yet that has really been bullied, uh, has been attacked, or I mean, like not very nice things. And I've known that's happened to Lisa, and she actually made a public post about it and saying how much it's stressing her, and how it's caused her to stay away from the tubes, social media in general. Because yeah, I would too. I wouldn't want to come on a something I like or something I enjoy, and then come on and then being attacked and being called vile names every time I did. Yeah, I would take a lot of the fun away from it really, really quick. And I don't think it's really right at all that that happens. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about too. Is um, I'm not sure if this is. I'd like to think this is not on the rise. Uh, though I know in every community, including YouTube, there's not perfect relationships. There's bumps and bruises. I've had my fair share of bumps and bruises and disagreements with people. Um, but I don't necessarily think that I've gone on the warpath, so to speak. Uh, or gotten my hands dirty with it. A lot of times I will go to the person and see if we can work it out. But I haven't sat there and just from far away and just take pot shots at anybody. I haven't seen that really, and I'm really glad I haven't. Not to say I haven't seen it or been the victim of it, because I have. Yeah, it's no fun. But it's got to be all that much worse for a woman than a male. It just is. I just think it is. Um, and it's funny too. It's like it's just it doesn't have to be that way. Um, but sometimes it does. Sometimes people just can't help themselves. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that too. Yeah, we're going to get a little nitty gritty for this edition of 8 Questions with. As you probably noticed on the screen there in the banner there, it also says the Cinema Squad is taking over. Uh, that's because I have come to the conclusion that Lisa Loves is a member of the Cinema Squad, and we're going to find out for sure if this is true or not, because I think she is. Uh, it seems like every time I turn around to see one of the Cinema Squad members, I see Lisa, and I'm thinking, that's going to be a undercover Cinema Squad operative. Um, of course, the Cinema Squad, as you know, is a group of six friends, six friends who have gone together. In fact, they're getting ready to do their second annual Rubber Ducky or Oscar award, Oscar show. I'm supposed to be presenting on that show on the 19th, by the way. I'm supposed to be doing something with TV. Uh, I'm waiting for Jonathan or Sean or to let me know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Hey, Kaleo, how are you? Once again, congratulations on your man. I'm gonna say that's a podcast, my friend, because I listened to it as a podcast. Super cool, man. Really, really cool. Okay, our guest is here. So you know how it rolls. Even if our guest comes here early, I don't like to make them wait. I like to bring them up. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring up Lisa, and then I'll make some small talk while some of you guys get out here and hang out with us.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I'm early. I'm always early. I do apologize.
That's all right.
I'm
I'm always early
late.
too. I am always early too. And I put the banner out in your honor, of course.
I see that, and I wish it were true, Patrick. I wish I were, but
I
sadly not. I think I'm just a bit obsessed. I think I just stalk the guys on their videos because I love them so much.
I think that once we get one of the guys in here, I think that we're probably gonna have to come. They're gonna have to just come. They're gonna have to come clean. They're gonna have to name
Oh, I
you.
wish. I wish.
They're gonna have to name you a member of the squad.
I think they should make me an honorary secret member. Yes, that would be
Hell
good.
yeah, we are gonna do that. The first one that comes through the door, we're all over them like a blanket.
Well, hopefully it's early in America, isn't it, at the minute? It's like 7 o'clock in Ireland, but
Yeah,
you're
it's
like
2
2?
p.m. Yeah, 2 p.m.
Yeah,
here. Oh,
yeah.
so you were in Ireland and not the UK. I thought you were in the United Kingdom.
This is a sticky one. Northern Ireland is part of the UK. It's like split into two. There's the south of Ireland and the north of Ireland. And the north
Right.
of Ireland with Scotland, Wales, and England are UK. So strictly speaking, I'm UK, but I'm in Ireland, if that makes
So
sense.
are you green or orange?
I'm green. I'm definitely green.
See, that's why you're here. See,
So you know your stuff if you ask that question. A lot of people have no idea, but you're asking if I'm green or orange. I'm green.
I'm very much green. Cut
What if
me,
I
I
said
bleed green.
orange?
Huh? No, no orange here. No, no.
Yes,
Which is
very,
sort of
very.
which is sort of weird because I'm not Catholic, but
I am.
my politics are green, but my
I'm
church.
by birth Catholic, but not. I'm not a religious person. I'm not. I don't practice faith or anything. But by birth, here you're pigeonholed. You have to be Catholic or you have to be Protestant. You can't be nothing. You can't have. It's ridiculous. It's not good.
I would like to think that after since the troubles have settled,
Yeah.
you would think that there would be some leniency, or
Yeah.
some freedom, but I guess not. I guess it's still bubbling on the surface. But
There's
that's what
still an
how
element. There's still definitely an element. Most people here aren't like that at all, but there's still like an element, like you get anywhere. Just Neanderthals is how I like to say it on both sides of the
we call
debate.
them
Yeah,
Republicans over here.
you get it everywhere, don't you? Whatever the subject matter might be, they just on every
Yes.
side of every debate, there's just Neanderthals.
It's just really scary for our country is the fact that it seems to be sliding into fascism. every year with more and more.
That's
And
scary.
it is scary. It is scary. And we're seeing it, we're hearing it, we're experiencing it, and it's absolutely shocking because it's just like, what's going on in our schools? How come the kids are not being taught history? How
Yeah.
come they're being taught that, millions of families were affected by World War II?
Mm.
I even hear some of it coming from across the pond, the UK. I hear some people talk, and it's going toward that. It's going toward that extreme right. And you're
I
sitting
don't
there.
know where that's coming from. Well, our
"Mm,
government, oh, I'll not swear. The Tories are they're very right of the middle. So I think that's maybe why you're getting a lot of that from the UK. You tend to have very conservative minded people from that side of the camp that have very conservative minded views. That was conservatives different in America to what it is in the UK. They're not good. They're just the country is going to hell in a handbasket with them in charge of it.
it's just yeah. I mean, we saw that with Boris. I'm not
Oh,
sure what we're gonna see with the new prime minister.
it's not good, is
Um,
it?
yeah. We got we had we saw, it's funny. It's like I'm watching a friend of mine. He went up to in Canada, and he went to the anniversary of the Freedom Convoy. That's what they
Right.
call it in Canada, where they had all the trucks go over to Ottawa.
All right.
And so they went over there for the first anniversary, the Freedom Convoy. And I'm honestly, Lisa, I'm totally perplexed. I'm absolutely perplexed. Like, people throw the word freedom around, but they have no comprehending of what that is. It's like, free what? Freedom what?
Yeah,
Freedom to do.
exactly. And they need to be educating kids, don't they, in schools as to what, proper people that had to fight for freedom, never mind
Yeah.
nowadays. It's
I mean, the
no.
freedom that, I mean, it's like the freedom to do what? I mean, and they're up there, because they were upset with the COVID restrictions. That's what they were
Oh,
upset about.
don't even start me with that. Oh no.
And
No.
yeah, and I'm going like, we buried 1 million people down here because they died of our government's inaction,
Mm.
because they didn't
Same
do
here.
anything. And yet you're up there talking about freedom when the government did try to do something, and now you're crying about it. It's like 1 million people died.
Yeah.
Even now, when people are still getting sick down here, they're
Mhm.
not dropping, so to speak.
Yeah.
But boy, you talk to them, and they're sick, and they're sick for a long time.
Yeah.
It's not
I
like
had a friend that almost died and he was young and healthy. His family were called to his bedside to say their goodbyes. Thankfully he pulled through, but he's never going to be, well again. He's had to go through so much,
yeah.
like rehabilitation, and he's a young, healthy, fit man.
Now,
It's scary.
now imagine if we would have actually, did the social distancing. If we had done the mask up, we'd done that. We had actually done it from day one.
Mm.
I dare say that we wouldn't have lost nearly as many people as we have.
Yeah. It all
I,
comes
I
down to money at the end of the day and
Mm.
how much money countries are going to lose. I know in the UK, definitely that seems to be paramount. How much is this going to cost the economy and all
Yeah,
that sort of thing? That comes first, which is ridiculous.
it's like many times when it comes down to something like this, it's like you drop a rock in the middle of the pond, and then you see the ripples.
Hmm.
And the ripples, it doesn't just splash doesn't affect just the area where it's at. The ripples affect everybody for a long time. And here we
Exactly.
are. Our economic problems are directly tied to the pandemic
Mm.
and our inactivity, our just you know our dragging our feet, our resisting to do what's best for our neighbors.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly. It certainly brings to your sort of attention how many people are we call it here. I don't know if you use the expression that I'm all right, Jack, in the people that are healthy, that are well, that maybe can catch a virus and be fine. But like in my situation, both my parents are disabled and not in very good health. So it was a big sort of like, oh, sort of panic situation for me to make sure they were safe. But you get so much hatred for being careful. I don't know if that happens where you are, but even people wearing a mask, not now, but back in the middle of when it was rife, you would get a lot of hate for being careful and being safe and trying to protect your family. People would say you were scaremongering, but there are people out there that don't have good health that if they got it could be seriously ill. Like my dad has COPD as well, which obviously it's a lung condition. So yeah, it'd be nice if people looked out a little bit more for others rather than just thought about
Yeah.
themselves.
I still wear a mask every time I go out, and I do it for that reason. I do it
Mm.
for, I do it for because I was in a situation 10 years ago when my wife was sick,
Oh,
and she had she was going through chemotherapy, and the last thing that she could afford was to be sick. So,
exactly. Yep.
she had to wear a mask when she was out. When I was at my job, I would tell people, like, if you're sick, please don't come around me.
Yeah.
Just because people are always sniffling during the winter time.
Yeah.
I actually have some woman after I had done this. It's like, please don't come near me with your sickness. I have a sick wife at home.
Hmm.
Exactly what she did. She came walking up to me, coughing and hacking,
Oh
and I
no.
and I and I just turned around and says, "Get away from me." I said, "Get away from me." And I
My
walked.
words would have been rather more colorful.
Yeah. She got really offended. So she turned a corner. My store manager's there, and she starts complaining to the store manager. The store manager put his hand up and said, "Why didn't you listen to him? He
Mm.
told you. He told you. He's told everybody about that, and yet you walked right up to him. And after he told you, why did you do that?" And she's sitting there trying to think of an answer. And he goes, "Well, let's go get that answer while you walk with me to the back." And
Good for
so,
your manager. Good for your
yeah,
manager.
yeah. So, yeah, it's different, and it is really different, and hopefully, you know, hopefully we all make it through. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know in this country. I just don't know. It just seems to be split and seems to be getting more and more terrible, and we're losing. And people are talking about our freedoms over here, and we don't even have the freedom, or we don't even have the we're always in the back of our heads. I think most Americans, whether they would admit it or not, I think most Americans now, and like I know for me, I know wherever I go, I'm always looking for the exit wherever I
You,
go. Go
you know
grocery.
that's called hypervigilance, and I'm exactly the same. It's a thing. And I mean, we've had the troubles here, and I did live through a bit of that. But I mean, shows you how paranoid I am. Even when I go to the cinema, all I can think about is that Batman screening, and like, oh my god, what if that happened? And
Yes.
it's a thing. It's an anxiety disorder called hypervigilance, where you always have to know where the nearest exit is. Concerts, if I go to a concert, I
Hmm.
always have to know how I can get out, which is it's a weird way to be, but
Yeah.
I'm the same. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm always looking for the exit because I don't trust anybody. I mean, anybody here could pull out anything, especially here in this country.
yeah,
You know, and it's like, how's that freedom? How how is that freedom for us to be
yeah.
able to go out there, and every time you go outside the door, one of the things you have to think about is what will I do if there's a shooter?
Mm,
And that's like, who would ever have thought that we'd be in a situation where our society where that's a fear?
yeah,
Now, you could go anywhere you want. Yeah, I can. I can go anywhere I want, but I can't go and necessarily enjoy myself 100%.
hmm,
Everything you do now is like, you got to keep an eye or ear out. And and I don't and then we got that with with our cops. It's like, you before, as a kid, we were taught that if a policeman was a friendly presence.
yeah. That's a bit
Now
scary at the
it's
minute,
like,
isn't it? Yeah,
now if you get stopped by a cop, now it becomes almost like a life or death ordeal. It's like, it's like, your tail lights out. Okay, here's both my hands on the steering wheel.
is it a good cop?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
scary.
Are you having a good day,
We've got one here. I know there's the big story in the US at the minute, but it's not as big a story, but it's sort of in the UK, mainly around London. A lot of police officers being prosecuted for like attacks on women. that basically it's been swept under the carpet, but one big story got out, so all of the rest are now filtering. And it's like you say, you would be taught as a child, if you get lost, if go find a police officer. And now, no, it's not
Now
to say
you
all police officers are, because I know police officers are wonderful people, but just the fact that you don't know if it's one of the good ones, you're be a bit more wary.
yeah, you see them through a different light.
Yeah.
Kalel, I think he's trying to push us out here. We're gonna definitely get into that. And I only have one preset question before we start. I don't have any preset questions for you or anything like that, because
Okay.
it's more fun just talking. I always found anyway.
Yeah.
And I feel like you and I are sort of like we're sitting on one of us on one side of the door and the other one's on the other side of the door.
Yeah.
We're just waiting for the first one to come through that chat so we could jump his ass.
Oh, come on, they have to come in now. Wait to
Who
see
do you,
none of them
who do you,
coming
who do you
in.
think will be? I think it's going to be Upside Down. I think
Yes.
I think he'll be the first one to come through the door.
Yeah. I think you're right. If any of them, I think he would be the one, yeah.
Of course, then they're probably listening to us and going like, all right, now, no, they'll be the ones going like, where's that door? Where's that exit?
They'll be worrying. They'll be like, oh God, he's putting ideas in her head. What if she tries to get into the cinema squad?
Oh,
Those poor guys. Oh dear.
and look who just walked through the door. Oh my gosh, just in time.
Oh, there he
Hi,
We were
if
just
it is,
talking about you. Are your ears burning?
yeah, if it isn't our good friend Upside Dan. Welcome, Dan.
I love Dan.
Uh,
Dan's lovely.
hi, Clara Murphy, Murph Six. How are you? Um, thank you for coming in. Dan, welcome. So where were you born and raised at?
Oh, that's a boring one for me. Where I live now, Ballymena in the north of Ireland, which how I explain it to people that maybe don't know Ireland is if you watch Game of Thrones, a lot of what Game of Thrones was shot just up the road from where I live, which is lovely. It's great. It's very green. It's very wet. It's very cold. Um, I lived in England for about 10 years. I lived in Yorkshire, Nottingham, Derby, and then I moved back because I said my parents aren't very well, so I moved back to help with their care. But yeah, I live now where I was born and raised, Ballymena.
Okay. Has it changed much since had it changed much since you left and
No,
you came back?
no, no, not really. It's still, I like to say that the further north you go in the UK and Ireland, the more prehistoric we get. I mean, London is very like modern and with the times, and the Midlands are quite trendy as well, but not quite London. And Yorkshire is a bit, more old-fashioned people. But then you go to Scotland and Northern Ireland, and we're not quite as up to date as the sort of newfangled folks down south. So we're a bit like nothing's really changed. Things are very similar to how they were when I was little. So nothing much has changed.
Yeah, it does seem to be. It does seem time has seemed to have gotten stuck in Ireland, hasn't it? It's
Yeah.
very hard to move forward in a lot of ways. But is that because I don't necessarily think it's because of the people so much as it is the influence of the church, because the church is still pretty influential in Ireland, is it not?
Yeah, I think Catholicism is well in the south is the main religion, and the church likes to. It's the center of everything. Here you've got I don't know how many different denominations of Protestant, and then you've got Catholicism, and it's just people always want to like fight about it or my religion's better than your religion, even if they're not religious. I can't be bothered with it at all. But it's true. The church is very much the center of things. Just it's silly to show you how it is. The town I'm from, do you know the band ELO?
Yes.
They were banned from playing here because it would bring debauchery. I mean, ELO would bring devilment and debauchery. So that would give you an idea. It's quite. We
Wow.
wouldn't be having people like Marilyn Manson or something playing, or Alice Cooper playing here. Put it that way.
Yeah, still today, you still couldn't. They still wouldn't probably be welcome.
In the town that I'm from, probably not. It's run by a very well. It was. Do you know who Ian Paisley is? Was, sorry, he's deceased now. He's a politician, a minister that was a very like a founding member of the DUP in Northern Ireland. His son is now kind of in his position, and he's very religious, and he's very thou shalt not, and they're in the charge of this sort of area I live in. Like Belfast wouldn't be like that. Big cities like Derry wouldn't be like that. But the town I'm from is, they call it the Bible Belt, and it
Right.
would be like that.
You know,
It's not good. I live kind of out in the country away from the town centre, so it's good because I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere with nobody near me to bother me, which suits me just dandy-o, to be honest.
we have our Bible Belt here, and it's funny. It's like, if you look at our Bible Belt, it has like the highest birth rate. Out of wedlock has the highest birth rate. It has the lowest education. It has the most views of pornographic sites. People watch pornographic.
Not surprised they're not allowed to do
Yeah,
anything else.
yeah, yeah. In the Bible Belt, I call them 2-hour Christians because they go to church for a couple hours. They think they're
Yes.
holy, and then they come out and they're this. They're not. You know,
Yes, I know
yeah.
exactly what you mean, and it's one of my pet peeves. The people that I know in life that are the most religious are the not nicest of people behind closed doors. And the people I know that are lovely and caring and sweet and just gorgeous people aren't religious. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with religion. God, no, don't think I'm saying that, because there's nothing. My mum's very devout Catholic, but there are some people that just go to church for appearances and for social reasons, and then are very judgmental, is the word I would use. They're very judgmental individuals outside of that, which does my head in.
See, our good friend and fellow podcasters, the Friendly Men, are asking if the Green Bay band. That's a good question.
The band Green Day?
Yeah, I mean, I dare say probably just about every band. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, I would, unless it's country and western or like a Christian band. I can't think of like some things like we get like the Eagles tribute bands and stuff like that. Actually, in saying that, long before that religious person that was a minister, or he was a minister that was a politician, Rolling Stones played Ballymena. And I mean, it's the Stones, for God's sake. They played this tiny little town, and that's incredible. They used to have like a dance hall when my parents were teenagers. That was a long time ago. And they had the Stones. They had, I don't know, they had like big names back in the day, but that all kind of went by the wayside, like coming into like the late 70s and 80s, and now we get nothing. Absolutely. We have to go to Belfast. Please tell me Garth Brooks is not Garth Brooks. Sorry, I've just seen a comment, Patrick. Garth
Oh,
Brooks played in Dublin here, and they had to extend his stay by several dates because we get naff all else. So everybody went to Dublin to see, which is right at the like down at the bottom of Ireland. I had lots of friends that travelled down to see Garth Brooks. I didn't. I love
yeah,
the
it's really,
Eagles.
it's really funny too. If you took away the bands, if you took away the bands themselves and just put out lyrics and didn't tell the people who wrote what,
Yeah,
I think the people would be absolutely positively shocked at the lyrics that country singers sing. I mean,
I'm not a
they
fan of
sing with
country.
a twang, but let me tell you, country bands, they sing about sex more than any other genre.
Do that?
More
You
than
see,
any other.
I
Oh,
don't know
that's
much. I have to admit.
all
I
about who's cheating on who, or you coming over here tonight,
Yes,
who's knocking on my door. It's
Crystal
like,
Gale. My dad used to love Crystal Gale, and she was singing about somebody cheating on someone else and dreaming about someone else, wasn't she? I remember that from my childhood.
mm-hmm. um, is Black Lace Band a Black
Probably would
Lace
be.
band or the clothing?
I think he's meaning the band Black Lace. They
Okay.
probably, but that's Aaron from Screen Stars. He's a proud Yorkshireman. My husband's from Yorkshire, and quite a few YouTubers I know are from Yorkshire. It's in the north of England. They're very very proud to be from Yorkshire. Yes, Aaron, they probably would be. Nobody ever plays here. I have to go to Belfast. And even at that, I think because Ireland's such a small place, it costs too much for bands to travel here to play. So, by the time they play for ferries or airplanes to get all their gear and all their crew on, they tend to leave us out. We don't tend to get many bands that play here, which is sad. But
Okay,
what
so
can you do?
now this is really intriguing because now I want to ask you, like, what about the cinema? Do you have a theater you go?
Oh, yes. Yes, we have plenty of cinemas, I will say that. Although some movies we don't get. They're not like too bad. We get horrors, like we got X, we got Pearl. Um, I'll tell you one that they tried to ban was Showgirls, if you remember back in the day.
I think we
And
tried
I
to ban.
went on purpose because there was like a demonstration outside and people were there with placards. So I thought I have to go see this. So I went to see Showgirls just to laugh at the demonstrators. It wasn't bad. People say it's an awful film. I thought it was all right.
It's,
But yes, any filth, any nudity, they'll try and ban that. But horror seems to be that's a different thing with America and here. Here they'll show violence to any degree, horror, gore, and it doesn't bother anyone. But see when you get nudity involved, people don't like
oh
that.
no, that's over here. Oh
Is
gosh,
that
that's
the
right.
same? I thought that wasn't. I remember in the 80s growing up watching horrors and all these American horrors and all these nudie ladies in them. I
Yeah.
thought it was like here you don't really get a lot of that.
No, we what we there was a famous adult star named Marilyn Chambers, and she was quoted as saying only here in America, because she had done both. She'd done adult movies. She also did a famous movie that David Cronenberg did called Rabid. So she had done
Oh,
a horror movie and she also had done adult films. And she says only in America can a movie, show a man kiss a woman's breast and it's rated X, but the same man can put a knife in her in it and it's rated R.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's madness. It is. It's I don't know. I'll tell you the
Uh,
thing between America and here, this does my head in, and it surprises a lot of people in America. In the UK and Ireland, children have to be the age of the film certificate to get in to see it. So you could take a child in America to see a 15 or an 18 rated movie. Like my son can't see anything that's 15 or 18 because he's not old enough. So
even if you're there.
no, no, not even it's illegal. So I'm trying to think of one. The Batman was one in Ireland. For some reason, they managed to get special certification of a thing called 15A, which is 15 advisory, which meant if your parent brings you, and we've never had that for any other movie, so we got to see the Batman. But anything over, we have PG 12, 15, and 18. And if you're not the age, you're not allowed in, which sucks
Mm.
because I loved watching movies I shouldn't have been watching as a kid. And I want my kid to be able to watch horror as well, but he's not allowed. It's not
I,
good.
I've only saw that. It only happened to me once. I used to go to a theater and they knew me because we go to the midnight theater. And they knew us every weekend. Every weekend we get dropped off by our parents and we go watch midnight movies. It was great. And the only time it didn't happen was when Dawn of the Dead played, and we came out there and they were going like, "You better grab your parents before they leave because they have to walk up there and tell us
Oh,
in there."
right.
So we were running down the driveway, down the parking lot, going, "Wait, wait, wait!" And then we're like, "What?" It says you have to walk over to us with us to tell the clerk to let us in, even though they've seen us watch horror or rated R
Yeah.
horror films for months.
Hmm.
So, uh, so that's what happened. I had to go in there, and they had to sit there and say, "Yeah." They said, "Yeah, they can go on in."
Yeah.
And I
Isn't
did
it
that once
weird?
too when I was at another midnight. When I was here in Michigan, uh, a movie called "The Enemy at the Enemy's Gates" was playing, and there was a group of teens. They were there to see the movie, and they were all under. And I had never seen this before at the theater, but
Mm.
one of the guys came up, one of the theater people came up there and says, "How old are you guys?" 16, 17. And they weren't going to let them in. They said, "No, you guys can't."
Right.
And I'm
You
going like,
see,
"Whoa." Um,
Dan's just written theaters are supposed to enforce the ratings, but they don't. I didn't know that. I thought in America you could bring your kid to see whatever you want because I'd seen so many parents bringing their kids to see, I don't know, things like It, or I don't mean really young kids that would be frightened. Like my son's 11 and he likes like things that are a bit scary, but I didn't know that it was meant to be enforceable. Well, here they do enforce it like everything else. They're the
Yeah,
joy police.
I had never seen our theater, the local theater enforce that before, and I was sitting
Yeah.
there, wow. So I thought the movie was too important not to see, since it was, it was about World War II, it
Mhm.
was a true story. So I just told the guy at the theater, I said, they're with me, you
Oh,
know,
good for you.
and they're like, oh, thank you, mister, and so they, yeah, if that had been for if that had been for a Scream or a Halloween, I wouldn't have
Mm.
said shit. I wouldn't have said anything. Other
There's much
than
worse things
better
you
call
could
your mom.
do.
You better wait outside for your mom. But I thought the movie had cultural importance, so that's the reason
Yeah,
why. Yeah, by all means, let them in.
cool.
Go with me. Um, let's see. Yes, I saw the Dawn of the Dead '78 in theaters. That's how old. That's how old I am.
You're
Uh,
lucky man.
and I also saw three people run out of the theater sick.
I don't understand that. You hear that about The Exorcist, and now I don't understand how people get that frightened.
Yeah,
I wish I could feel that frightened watching a movie, but it's never happened.
I've been as frightened goes. I mean, I've been disturbed. I mean,
Yeah,
or it's been unsettling.
yeah.
Like, as far as scary goes, I
Mm.
haven't been in a movie that's just like absolutely scared me. I guess the other one, I guess the only movie that probably would fit that way might be Jaws, but I think we're all, whether we see the movie or not, we're always a little nervous about the ocean anyway.
Oh
Um,
yes,
but as
yes.
far as that goes, I've been more disturbed or haunted more than scared. Haunted means that the movie stays with you, it stays with you.
Yes.
It really,
I
like,
love that. When that happens, when you feel unsettled or disturbed or it stays with you. I love when a movie does that. For me it tends to be more like supernatural stuff tends to unnerve me, like silly stuff like that, like the whole ghosty wosty thing, that unsettles me. Gore, I can watch all day long and it doesn't really affect me, and maybe there's something wrong with me, I don't know. But I like the psychological side of things, that would disturb me more.
did I see The Exorcist in theaters? No, I did not see The Exorcist in theaters. That came out in '72, I think, or '73. So I was a wee bit young for there, but I did see it when I was 13. And no, it didn't scare me. The only movie I can tell you right now that scared me, and I tell the story and you guys all laugh at it, but I guess it is sort of funny. The only movie that had me just like looking over my shoulder and underneath my bed was, and I saw it at home on commercial TV. That means it was edited and it had commercials in it.
Yeah.
I sat back, turned off all the lights, CBS late night to watch Phantasm.
Oh, I haven't seen that
By
in
the
years.
time that movie came by, I had all the lights on in my house, and that movie scared the shit out of me. He comes out of there, he goes, "Boy," I'm like, "Oh, that's enough for me." Huh?
First movie that did that to me was Poltergeist. I was a child, and I made my son watch Poltergeist, and I told him when I watched this movie, I had to put on all the lights to go to bed. And he watched it and says, What are you scared of that for? There's nothing scary in it." Scared the life out of me when I was a kid. For years, proper years that did. But
Yeah.
I must have been a delicate disposition.
No, yeah, nothing really, yeah, nothing ever scared me until Phantasm, and this was like, holy crap! I was just like, oh, Almighty Sophie is here. Sophie, hi, Sophie.
Oh, that's lovely.
You know Sophie, don't you?
Yes, she's lovely. She's really
Yes,
nice.
well,
Yeah.
she's very smart. She's very smart.
Cool.
We
We
did.
like smart
I
lady.
did a contest with Gareth. Gareth Video Tasties have
Yes.
contest, right?
Mhm.
And we went over there, and me, Gareth, and Sophie went, and Sophie kicked our asses.
Good for you, Sophie.
I still got the scar mark on my bum from that.
I love to hear it. Very good. Well done, Sophie.
Let's see. Did you get scared when you watched Ishtar? Wow.
What's that?
Oh gosh, a brother of a certain age. His first scary movie was The Car. That was so
Oh,
much
that's a
fun.
good one. Yeah.
That's a fun one. That
Yeah.
was a fun one. I tell you what would have scared me. I'll be honest with you. Looking back at it, watching the movie, retro scare, so to speak. I tell you, the movie that would have scared me if I would have watched it when I was that young was Duel.
Duel. I don't think I've seen that one.
Uh, it's Dennis Weaver. He plays the guy. I guess he's getting chased by a truck.
No,
He's
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it was Steven Spielberg's first movie.
Duel.
Oh man, that
I
movie
would have
is
seen that. It's Spielberg. That's a disgrace. I have to correct that.
Duel is it still will have you on the edge of your seat. It is very, very exciting movie and very tense. You're it's not one you're gonna skip. You're not gonna be able to, you don't sit back to watch it. You're sitting at the edge of your seat watching it because it's
That
so
sounds
intense.
good to me.
It did and it's ageless. It came out in 1971. You could watch that today and you'll still be, you'll still
I
be
shall
good.
do that. I shall check that out. What's Ishtar?
Oh God, no! It stars like it's bottom of the bucket. It was a
Is it bad?
huge, yeah, it was a huge with Dustin Hoffman and Warren Beatty, and
Oh, it's got a good cast.
yeah, Elaine May directed it, and it destroyed her career.
Oh
Uh,
dear.
yeah, destroyed her career, and yeah, it was just god awful. Just yeah,
I'll not check that out then.
it's far worse than Showgirls. Uh,
I didn't mind Showgirls. I must be one of
uh,
the few.
let's see, yeah, Duel's amazing. I think the other movie I could probably come to mind with it a little bit will probably be um Joyride. Would probably be the closest thing I could come to.
Oh, that's quite a recent one, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
I like that one. Yeah, I did like that one.
Ah. So your cinema's good then. That's so you see a lot
Yeah.
of different movies then.
Although I'm getting a bit disturbed, this isn't horror, but there's no listings anywhere near me for The Whale, which is meant to be out this weekend, and I'm desperate to see it, and nowhere showing it anywhere near me. I'm getting a bit perplexed. I'm going to see Knock
Um,
at the Cabin this weekend, but I love Shyamalan.
I
But no
I'm
Whale.
crossing my fingers, Lisa. I'm so hoping that M. Night Shyamalan does not try to put a damn twist in it, because it's based off a book.
I
It's
love this.
based off a
Oh, is
book.
it?
Yes, it's based off a book. The author did not really leave me with a lot of confidence because they're asking him, well, do you think they're going to leave your book alone? Are they going to,
Mm,
go straight to the book? And he says, well, I don't have any say in it. And when an author says that, that tells you
right,
right then that they've changed his book.
right.
And it's just
It's
like,
twisted. He
wow.
has to twist it. We expect Shyamalan to twist it, really.
And,
I'm
and it's like,
expecting a twist.
yeah. And based on what I've read about the book, he doesn't need to do that. The book is really,
Is
really
it?
good without that.
Okay. Right. I didn't know
But
that. There you go.
let's see. When the car was revving its engines in the garage and James Brolin was covering his ears and the car started beeping the horn. Yeah, that's a fun movie. The
Yeah.
car was fun. Jaws on land. Um, um,
I need to check out Jewel, obviously.
and then the first scary movie that I saw, actually the first scary movie I saw, it was a movie called Grizzly with Christopher
Grizzly. So
John,
was that about a bear?
15-foot grizzly bear.
I haven't
Oh,
seen that.
it's rated PG. If you watch it, you watch it
Okay.
rated PG. There's no way in hell that's rated PG. That movie is so gory. It was like trying to be more just as gory as Jaws. People forget that Jaws is rated PG.
I know, isn't that it's ridiculous? That scared the life out of me as a kid. But to
Yeah.
me, things that could happen are the scariest things. So,
Yes.
like these, oh, are you going to see Cocaine Bear when it comes out?
Nah, probably not.
Oh, that looks funny. That looks. I saw a trailer for that. I went to see The Plane, the new Gerard Butler one. Was it last night? The trailer for Cocaine Bear was on.
Uh,
Oh, I found it very amusing. I shall go see that.
how was playing? I was curious about that. I
I
heard it's
loved
pretty
it.
fun.
I was not. I was expecting it to be okay and for me to enjoy it. And a few people I know, Upside Down, had seen it and he'd enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So much better than I expected. I do like Gerard Butler, but he tends to be in movies that are good, but not movies that are great. But I loved it. Well above like par for that kind of movie, definitely.
Well, I like Mike Coulter too, because he did Power Man over here, or Luke Cage.
Right,
And
right,
so I
yes.
saw that, and I was like really happy to see him do a movie at the theater. And
He's really
yeah,
good in
I'm a
it as
Gerard
well.
Butler fan too.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was
I'm,
brilliant. It's very good.
let's see, Dan saying he can't wait for Cocaine Bear. I love playing too, and I thought it looked bad from the
Yeah,
trailer.
I didn't think it was going to be great.
Lionsgate will surprise us. The company that put out actually, I think they put out Cocaine Bear, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, they put out a lot of fun movies. Let's see. The Friendly Men commented the Swedish director we talked to made a Swedish short film called Fear of the Woods. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think yeah. See, I think that's a reality based movie, and I think people get more scared off of things that could happen more than
Yeah,
fantasy.
definitely.
Which is why I think The Exorcist really, because I rewatched it recently, and I hadn't seen it for a long time, and what really caught me was it almost plays out like a documentary.
Mm,
It really sort of does, and you know what I mean. It's like this could happen, and it has happened, and
mm,
the you see you see Regan playing with her little Ouija board, and I have forgotten that. I have
yeah,
forgotten
haven't
that.
seen it in years.
Yeah,
It is
I'm
based
like,
on a true. It's based on a true story, but it's a boy in real life. But The
mhm,
Exorcist is based on a true story of a boy that went through similar things. Like what's that one? Exorcism of Emily Rose is based on I think a German girl that ended up dying because her family kept having her exorcised by priest. I said police priests, and she passed away from malnutrition and neglect in the end. So it's a bit scary when you hear the real recordings and tapes from these things. It gives me the shivers.
mm. Uh, so, what was the first scary movie that was for you? What was the first movie that had you like calling for mom and dad or going to sleep in the bed? Um,
Poltergeist. That sounds
Poltergeist.
so tame, but I was really young when I saw it. I would have been told to get the hell out of the room if I tried to get into my parents' room, but it definitely had me putting all the lights on, going to bed, and when I turned the light off in bed at night, running back to the bed really fast with my eyes shut, thinking, what if I see something horrible? It's always been paranormal and ghosty stuff that
Hmm.
scares me. But
Hmm.
I mean, I saw things like, let me think. The first horror movie I saw was Silver Bullet. I was
Okay.
fine with that. American Werewolf in London, all that sort of stuff, absolutely fine. And it was something as simple as Poltergeist that really frightened me. Don't know why, but it did.
Poltergeist is that's really, yeah, that's an intense movie. American Wolf in London was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that
yeah.
movie.
Hi Tiffany, how are you? Glad you're here. Everybody's talking about their favorite first movie. It's about a bear. Oh, with Vernon Wells from Mad Max. Um, Robert Shaw was great in Jaws. He was fantastic in Jaws. Robert Shaw was really good. Uh, there's a oh, I used to work at a supermarket, and there's a guy who used to come in here, and he looked just like Robert Shaw, and that's what we ended up calling him too. Mr. Kept on calling him Mr. Shaw. Glad you're doing well. Glad you're here. Um, so the first movie. Now you said that your son watched it with you. How old was your son? And how do you recommend that kids be allowed to watch a movie? Do you go by your theater ratings at
No,
home?
no, not at all. I think it depends on the movie. I wouldn't want, no, maybe this is wrong. Maybe this is just my I wouldn't want my son when he was really young to be watching like Reservoir Dogs or something like that. Like, something really gritty and crime filled, like I don't know, like Quentin Tarantino. I wouldn't have let him watch that when he was really young, but Poltergeist he watched when he was about 9, I think. and he
Hmm.
didn't find anything remotely frightening at all. I was younger than him when I saw it, and it scared the bejesus out of me.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I take it on the individual movie. I'll watch it first to make sure there's nothing that I think, will disturb him in it. He tends to be quite frightened by things that he wouldn't want to watch something where someone was stabbed or something, like Halloween or anything very realistic like that. He doesn't like. But anything silly to him, silly like werewolves, and he saw Jaws and he loved it. But he doesn't like violence, like slashers. He wouldn't enjoy that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's sort of funny. It's like I've always. I mean, I grew up with the slashers. I watched. Of course, Jason and Freddy
Mm.
and I wasn't really a big Halloween fan. I didn't think Halloween really did it for me. I liked Halloween 2 and I liked Halloween 3, but
So did I.
the rest of the movies just were, yeah, whatever. But I did find, one of the first movies that really disturbed me, like had me like Dawn of the Dead didn't disturb me at all. I thought it was
Yeah,
pretty badass, like
yeah, I
man,
loved it too. Yeah,
that was sort of, come out of the theater talking like, man, what if there was zombies today? That sort of thing, stuff
you're
you
proper
talk about
hyped
when
about it.
you're
Yeah.
14. And but I think the first movie that really got underneath my skin though was the David Lynch the Twin Peaks movie Firewalk with Me, where
I haven't seen that.
we find out the dad killed his daughter.
Haven't
And,
seen it. You're giving
oh,
me recommendations now. That's two I have to seek out.
oh, I just had me. I'm just like, that's so wrong. That's just wrong. And and then I saw late, very late, but finally saw Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, I
That
love that's
movie
one of
just
my favorites. I love that.
Yeah, but that movie got, it haunts you because, it's like I don't necessarily think it's scary, which I wish it had been, because I could deal with that.
It
But
really scared
but
me.
haunting is one that just stays with you, and you start, man, that movie just it's just like that's just, seeing. I can still hear that girl at the table screaming as she's going insane. She's losing her sanity. She's at the table. She just keeps screaming, and
Yeah,
psychologically speaking, you're just like you're just like like you don't want to, but at the same time you're sitting there like, can someone shut her up, because it's getting on you, it's affecting you,
yeah,
because you're
yeah,
gonna be the one sitting next to her screaming. um
yeah.
so um let's see wow, okay, the professor's really cracking, the chat is really cracking. Let's see, what did the professor say? Okay, every time I've shown poltergeist to someone, something in the room always falls on its own. It freaks them out every
Oh,
time. Yes.
I'd
I
be out
feel
of there.
yeah. uh the clown was rather a certain age. The clown was scary as hell in Poltergeist. Yes. Oh, look who else came walking through here.
Yes.
Our resident Cinema Squad superhero expert, Bojo Ricard. Hey, Patrick. Hey, Lisa. Glad to see the two of you together.
Hi,
What
Dave.
scary movie do you think was going to be terrifying, horrifying, end up being scary at all? Ooh,
Oh, that's a good question.
horrifying. I tell you what movie was not horrifying or terrifying to me, but for the wrong reasons. That was it. It did not scare me at all. Pennywise did not scare me at all. Not that movie did not. Everybody's like the clown, the clown. No,
The
what
old one or the
scared
new
me
one?
about that movie, what scared me about it, it wasn't the clown. It was the dad, Bev's dad, scared
Is
the
this in
poo
the
out.
original or the new one?
The new one,
The new one. I
that
can't
one,
even remember. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I know
yeah,
now. Yeah,
the
that was,
dad. I
yes,
mean, well, after everybody came out of the theater, they weren't talking to Pennywise at all. They were talking about the dad, because the
yes. I
dad
know
was
exactly
that.
what you mean.
It
Yep.
was so realistic. It was like that was terrifying. That was way more disturbing than the clown was.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because it's real, isn't it?
yes, yes.
Exactly. I
Um,
think one of the biggest disappointments for me was The Nun. He's talking about movies that you thought was going to be really good, just because in what was the Conjuring universe she was in, and the
right.
imagery of the nun was terrifying in the picture, and then when you watch the film, it was, well, I thought it was absolutely terrible. So that's the only one I can think off the top of my head that I thought would be really scary, but wasn't, was terrible.
Yeah, I don't mainstream horror movies. I never have any expectations them to scare me. Never do.
Yeah, I suppose I get what you
Because
mean. Yeah.
'Cause they're mainstream.
Mm.
But the movies that are smaller, they're independent, like the picture behind us on my screen, that's from my favorite movie called A Dark Song. That was actually made by an Irish filmmaker named Leon Gavin. Um,
A dark
Absolutely.
song, that's another one for me. I'm going to have to put these in my phone because I'm going to end up forgetting. A dark song, we shall check. You like IFC Midnight, don't you, Patrick?
Yeah. Yes, and you remember that. See,
Yes.
this is why Lisa loves rocks, kids. Take note. This is why she's a member. Oh, okay. So yeah,
Oh,
we should address this now. Now we got two of them in here. So we've had a discussion, me and the Cheetah, and I'm sure Boko Ricard, I'm sure Jace and Dan will both agree that you should be a member, an honorary member of the Cinema Squad.
I think
Uh,
there's a waiting list, Patrick, of people that want to be in the cinema squad.
well, I can tell
There's
you,
so many of us.
unless they can take out, unless they can take on a Cheetah barehanded, you're gonna go to the front of the line.
I
Um,
think we
so,
can all be honorary members, can't we? Like in the
uh,
background.
I
Yeah.
think we can be fans. I'm
Yeah.
happy being a fan, but I mean members. There's gonna be 7 members. I
They're
think
the face and we're
make
the background, aren't we? We're their adoring masses. I
uh,
love I think the thing with the cinema squad for me is they're all very individual personalities
mhm.
and they go together so well. And for me, the most important thing when I watch anyone, any channel,
Uh,
is believe it or not, isn't really the content, it's the people, it's the personalities, it's the genuine nature of all of those guys individually. They're all lovely. And that's why I'll always try and promote them when I can because I just think they're lovely. Lovely
I,
individuals.
well, did you look to
It's
see
another
right
one.
here? Look at this.
It's another
Hey,
one in
it's
there.
Lisa, our secret member.
Yes, Jonathan. I wish. They'll be taking out a restraining order on me soon.
No, no. Jonathan just put you over as the 7th member of the Cinema Squad. See, that's why I had this. That's why I had the on my banner. That's why I had the Cinema Squad is taking over because I've interviewed everybody from the Cinema Squad except for Joe. I haven't
Joe?
gotten
Yeah,
yet,
I've
but
watched them all. They were awesome.
yeah. So now I got 6 of the 7 Cinema Squad members. I'm gonna complete it. I'm gonna
Well,
complete it.
you need to get Joe. He is the funniest person. Honestly, without exception, I think he is the funniest person I know on YouTube. He's hilarious. I love him. I miss him dearly. He's having a break at the minute because there's loads of stuff going on in his life.
Sure.
But I love him.
You know,
He's just amazing.
that's a really good segue, and I want to talk about this here and openly because it was one of the reasons why I really was spurred to really go after this interview. Things going on in life, and one of the things I talked about before you got here, um, you've gone through some shit here on the tube.
Haven't we all though? Haven't we
Not
all?
like you, not
I
like
don't
you. I
know. I
believe
don't know.
I've been on the tube for 3 years. I have never seen anything like what happened to you. Uh,
I just tend
what
to just block it out. Is the advice I tend to give anyone. I know so many people, and I think for me, you always get people you're not going to gel with. You always will. Everybody has it. But for me, and I've witnessed it with several channels recently, people that I know well, it's the fact that people get away with bad behavior and
Yes.
nobody pulls them on it. That's the
No.
thing that grinds my gears. I don't
No.
know, like I've heard some pretty horrible, nasty comments about people, you know. Okay, I'm going to use the word friends, even though we haven't met. You know, people that you know online that feel like friends. And if I see that, I'm aghast, and I won't support that person anymore because to me they've revealed their true nature. Let's put it that way. And I feel that supporting them is a disservice to my friends. So that would be my viewpoint. So that's the only thing I've found difficult. It's been people that I really like and admire supporting people and allowing them to continue, to do this to other people. Because I know I'm not going to name names. I'm not here to do that, but I
Oh,
know in my
I don't mind doing it
oh
because
no, I don't want to because I pretend certain individuals don't exist.
yeah.
Unlike
Well, I'm just
them
saying because
calling
you and
me
I
names
both
and
have you and I had the same dance partner.
oh, have you had the same situation?
Yeah, yeah.
But
I had
this is the
you
thing.
know what's funny? It's like how it's funny because it's like it happened to me. And then it was like hey, it's like okay, that really sucked, but okay.
Yeah.
What really got me was like I was supposed to be the one to go fix it, and it's like, well, wait a minute, like you didn't get called the names that I did, so I'm not gonna go fix anything,
Mm,
But then I went ahead and then what I said, here's what I'll do. I'll try. I thought we had been at peace, and then things started spracking up again, and I said, and then I said, well, I'll see if I can fix this. And so what I did was I contacted this person privately, and because this person said, hey, I thought you and I were cool. And I'm like,
another friend of mine did the same.
and I thought we were cool. And it's like, we're not going to be cool because you said something, you said this over in public.
Yeah.
Until you apologize for that, I can't be cool with you. But here's what I'm going to do for you. And I said, I'm going to let you, we're going to do this privately. I'm not going to embarrass you in front of you and your friends or anything else. I'm not going to do that. Okay. I said, I just want an apology. And he did. He apologized. I still have it. And so I thought I was done. I thought, okay, it's
It's
cool.
never done with that
No,
person,
no,
Patrick.
no, never done
Never.
with that person. Nope.
No.
Passive aggressive.
I can't
Uh,
believe you've experienced that as well.
mhm,
I experienced it for 4 years.
yes.
I was called, I'm not going to repeat it because I don't like the word. I was called the C word on a live stream. Now, I don't watch the person's channel, didn't since we parted ways. And we parted ways purely because I just couldn't. I found his behavior obnoxious. And the funny thing was, and I've never said this before, and I'll say this every single member of the stream group that we were part of felt the same way I did, other
Yeah.
than one person. And they all individually emailed me and complained about the same person. But when I
Mhm,
actually publicly withdrew myself, they all pointed the finger at me and supported
yeah.
him. Every one of them
Yeah.
backstabbed me, basically. His
Yeah.
story is I backstabbed him because he thought I was his friend, but I don't know. But since I spoke out about it once, you maybe saw it recently on Facebook, and I named him, which I haven't done in 4 years
But it's good
because
to do that. It's good to call out his
I
behavior.
was on a stream with people that he used to be friends with. And I went on that same stream next week to support the guys. And I saw a comment that said, good to see you've actually got people on the stream this week that I can stomach, making
Mhm.
reference to me having been on at the time before. And I thought, you know what? Enough of this. So I named him.
Yep.
And since that happened, I've had so many people come and say to me, I've had it too. And now
Yep.
you're telling me you've had it too.
Oh
It's
yeah.
and it's
Yeah. I'll see. I'll do it because I don't give a rat's ass because I'm just built that way. But
good for you. I
it has
didn't
to,
know that you'd experienced that as well, Patrick.
well,
That makes it even worse. Some of the people I know that have experienced it are such nice people, and I think to myself, how could you possibly behave that way to this person who's universally liked? I mean, I've never heard a bad word about you from anyone, and other people that he's went for. But my qualm isn't with him. That's just him. I don't care. He's just a Neanderthal. It's it's the people that support him and allow him to continue doing it.
that hurts because
That's the thing that
I
I
know
have
one of
issue
the
with.
people. Yeah, I know one of the people that he's and I'll say this too. I know one of the people that he runs with, that he's friends with, and I'll be honest with you, I love the guy. I do.
I think
He
I know who you mean, and I used to love the guy, but he turned his
uh,
back on me as well.
yeah, you know what? I don't know how that worked out. I don't know why that happened. I got that too. I got that too. He thought that he actually thought I was trying to divide their friendship, and I was like, I wasn't trying to. I was just like, it's just one of those things. You are the company you keep. It was
Yeah.
one of those. It was that's what I was trying to tell him. It's like, if you're seeing this kind of company, you're going to be associated with his behavior. And
Mm.
I know that you're not anything like that.
Mm.
and it's disappointing to see. It's disappointing to see that you can't see that and you can't separate yourself from that.
I think I
Because
know who you're talking about. It was
because
I
if you
felt very
did,
similarly. I didn't try. I will be honest. I didn't ever try to talk to him about it because there were a lot of people going around. He said that. She said that, and I'm hearing things that I'm supposed to have said that I never even said. So, but it's one of those things, isn't it? For me, even though I don't really, maybe project it, I'm quite an anxious person. And I just tend to shut it out and ignore it and block it. And that's what I've been doing for years. I wouldn't watch the channel, but people will always come and say to you, "Oh, he said this and he said that." And I've had to say to people, just please don't tell me when he
yeah,
says things, because it makes it all build up again when I'm trying to just pretend that person doesn't exist. But it's not just me, it's happened to a very close friend of mine and a few other people. And now I've found out you.
yeah,
And it's the fact his friends don't take him aside and say, "Look,
yeah.
you have to rein this back. I don't know what your problem is with people, but you have to be
Oh my God,
respectful."
he looks for the drama. He looks for everything. He's gotten so many fights with so many different
Yeah.
people,
So
and
I've
it's just
heard.
like it's always just him. It's like it never was the other two. It was just you. And it's like and I saw after you came out and you publicly called him out on it, and I saw one of the sweetest people in the community. He posted on your feed how he was affected by that,
Yes, that's
and
I yeah, I know who you mean.
he had to walk away, and I'm like, "Oh my God, he's one of the nicest kids here."
Yep.
And
Yes,
you burned
exactly.
him? It's just like it was just,
For what reason? I mean, the reason that
because he
it
was,
was just
saying
ridiculous.
yeah, bigotry. It was,
It's just
and
offensive, isn't it?
homophobic cracks.
Yep. It's
Yeah,
just offensive, and that shocked me. It just,
I did
I
too.
knew a few people had had trouble, but it wasn't until I said, "Look, I would never, I don't like to name people. I don't like to start, this will probably start it all off again."
Well,
But
you know what? I mean, if he chooses to go that way, I mean, it just shows you just how a
it's no
person he is.
change from what it's been,
Yeah,
is
he
it?
won't
But that
change.
one time, and I didn't put it on YouTube because I didn't want to start anything off. I got one piece of really good advice once from Leo from the channel Geek Legion of Doom. And he said, try and keep personal stuff off your videos, off your channel. That was way back in when it started. Try and separate the two, because
Mm,
that's always going to be there. And I thought, you know what, you're right. And I've never name dropped the person on a video. I've never put anything on YouTube because I keep my Facebook and my YouTube pretty separate, because most people in real life don't even know I do YouTube. Like my family, no one knows. I like this little place where I can go and be myself, I suppose, without worry of judgment from people in real life. So I only put it somewhere amongst trusted people that I have. Like if I've got you on my Facebook, to me you're not just a channel I watch, you're a friend. But I would never have put it public. I just put it there, and the people that came to me afterwards and said, "He's done this to me," and I didn't, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to speak out. And that one person that you mentioned is the only person that actually publicly put on there that they'd had it too. But
mm.
then there was someone else that was a good friend of his that said, "This is disgusting. I had no idea. I support this person," but then a week later was on his videos giving him all it's like, you've told me you're disgusted by this and disappointed by this, but here you are talking about him on one of your videos a week later. It's like, what's going
Yeah.
on? Why are you supporting this guy? Not, I don't want people not to support him because of me, but when you know that this person has caused issue for probably in the teens of people on YouTube, but yet people support him, it's ridiculous. Oh, I
The
should
cat
have
has
said all
been
that.
going
I'm
on.
going to regret this.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, because I think because what really sucked about it was when I was reading it was the fact that it affected your time to coming on here. Like you said, I would be on here more, but I've gotten to it's gotten to be where I hated to come on
Yeah,
because I was going to see or hear about that. And to
there's a
me, it's like when
whole
someone takes away your joy, when
yeah,
someone
but
comes
every
in and tries
every
to
time
take,
you went somewhere, he was there. And I mean, then he started coming on to channels that I hadn't been on in months because I was maybe in their video. So he knew I would see the comment. Things like that. There's a whole segment of the community that I distanced myself from for no other reason than it made me feel sick to see his name pop up all the time. And that's how much, I've never said how much it actually got to me. It really affected me. I mean, my son at the time was 7 or 8, and he had a little YouTube channel showing off his Star Wars toys and stuff. At the time when all this happened, this person sent a load of people over to my child's channel to give him all the thumbs downs when you could do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was 7 and 8, and the only friends he had, the only people that knew he had a channel were friends of mine on YouTube. And it was just this like one little community that I knew at that time. And I mean, for groups of grown adults to come onto a child's YouTube channel and give him all these thumbs down, and he was really upset. And I thought, you know what, I don't want anything to do with this segment of the community anymore. And I completely distanced myself from a lot of people I really liked, I'll be honest. But it just made me physically sick. So I avoided it. And probably to a degree. And then when I tried to put my toe back in maybe a couple of months ago, when a few people invited me on a stream, people that I really like, then that comment popped up and it all started off again. It's like, he won't allow me to be in the same company. It's the only way I can put it. He won't allow me to be friends with people he's friends with because they're his. I'm not allowed to speak to them. And that's how it is, unfortunately. But then you get to know nice people, decent people, like the Cinema Squad who are all here talking.
Yep.
So it's, you know what I mean? It's like, that's why I appreciate those guys so much, because they're all nice. That it's, to me, personality wins out on everything. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, even if it's something, you know, like people that collect loads of media. I don't, because I don't have the space. I don't have the money to buy loads of stuff. But I will watch people's videos that buy and collect because I like them as individuals. So to me, decency and, oh, he's gone. Am I talking by myself? Come back, Patrick. You disappeared.
Come back. Here I am. Ta-da!
Yeah,
look, nothing up my sleeve, nothing in my hair. Yeah, I think that I'm gonna, it is about self-policing. You know, it's like, you're right. I mean, I think if someone's behavior is that abhorrent, I do think us as a community, we do have a somewhat of responsibility to acknowledge that behavior and to call it out, because it's like, you wouldn't do that to somebody's face. I mean, like,
no,
the
exactly.
name that I got called, he wouldn't never said it to my face. No, nobody, and that's just what he wouldn't say that to any man.
Yeah.
That's how you end up with a whole mouthful of chiclets, stuff like that. It's like, and what's really funny too is like, there's so many people that were there that were actually supporting him. He lost his brother. I as soon as I heard that, I instantly sent him an email. I offered, I let him know that I was here. If he needed to talk, if he had a clergyman that he could talk to, I showed compassion.
Mm-hmm.
I showed compassion.
Even
though he called me a name that's just, but I still showed a compassion. And it was just disappointing to see your gesture is, you put it out there like, hey, and then it gets, privately, thanks, man.
Mm.
But publicly, it's like, yeah, that guy sucks.
I don't think there's no redemption there at all. I just think some people just aren't very nice people, and he's, it was the people around him that I just wished would have had my back. That was the main upset, with him. Having heard now what you've just said, that just, oh God, I try not to hate people. I try so hard. And I say into my mind that he's so insignificant, it doesn't matter enough for me to have hate for him. But it makes me more angry when he's doing it to someone else. When you hear like that person that you mentioned that made the public comment, because he's such a nice person.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't believe you've had this and now you're saying the same thing. That makes me more angry than my situation made me. But
yeah, the young man really, that really bothered me, and what happened to you really bothered me, because you've been putting up with this bullshit for 4 years. I mean, it's not just a matter of just like, it's not just a bump, like sometimes people have bumps on the tube, they may say something or misunderstanding or what have you.
Yeah.
I've only seen like 4 or 5 really serious bumps that, have caused friendships to break. And I'm
Mm.
really sorry about that. When I see it, because it sucks, especially if you happen to know both parties. If it's
Yeah.
just one guy and he's having problems with somebody, you can side with that person, and then but when you know both people
Yeah.
and you happen to like them both, then it's rough. It's like, well, what do you do? But when you see somebody like that, and it picks on probably the most gentlest person, you and I think we can both agree upon that.
Yeah.
Most gentlest guy. I mean, eh, the guy wouldn't hurt. The guy wouldn't hurt he wouldn't hurt a flea.
Just a
He
really
would hurt.
sensitive, nice, sweet individual.
Yep,
Mm.
I've learned so much from him. And
Mm.
then I saw that I did, I heard that he had he had disengaged himself because of the homophobic comments.
Yep.
I was really disappointed and really hurt for him.
I
I
was
felt really bad
disgusted,
for him.
absolutely disgusted, to be honest. And even it's not just, he's one, but it goes on, in our community in the UK and Ireland as well. And whenever I hear it or whenever I get wind, there's someone I know that went through an awful time. Lovely guy, really funny, very well liked by everyone. But he's had a horrendous time as well. And I immediately disengaged from the people that were doing it because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
It's I will take sides if I feel one side is being particularly nasty. I've seen people make videos making fun of other people, and it's like, no, you're not the type of energy I want in my life. If
No.
you're going to do that, I don't care how big your channel is. I don't care how many people like you or support you. If you've done something I think's deliberately nasty to upset someone else, there's no room for you in my life. And people don't like that about me. They don't like the fact that I just can cut someone completely out. I will do that. But that's just how I feel about it. I can go from I really like you to if someone does something disgusting to pick on someone else, I can cut them out in a heartbeat and forget all about them. That's just me, which a lot of people don't really appreciate, but what can you do?
Well, I'm glad we talked about it a little bit, because when I saw how it affected you, and I really wanted
Mm.
you to come out and talk about it so it could be exposed. Like, this
Well
doesn't
done on
happen.
that. I've never spoken about that ever. Never.
Yeah. Well, just let you know, people were watching. I didn't see it from the beginning, but I was watching. I have been seeing it, and it's like, it's like, because I was trying to, I try to stay neutral too, because
Mm.
I do. But when I saw that and heard that, and then saw who else was affected by it, and of course my own, I was just like, we have to address this. We have to talk about it. And
Yeah.
so, and the fact of the matter is, it's like now you're not alone, for one
Mm.
thing.
That's a
There's a
big
lot
thing.
of people here. There's a lot of people here that see it. They know it. They. And if you guys want to know who it is, you guys can send me a private message. I'll be happy to tell you. I'll be happy to tell you. Not a problem. That way you know who the person is you're dancing with. Before
Yeah.
you go in there and throw support towards somebody, it's important to know who they are. So,
I think
and I
he
don't
will
mind.
reveal himself generally anyway. If you know him for any length of time, he generally will reveal that side of himself pretty quickly. So,
Very quickly.
yeah.
Um, so you mentioned about the collection. I look in your back. I absolutely love your back. I see you have Funko Pops back there.
I have a bit of an obsession, yes.
Yeah. So,
Yes.
like, okay, like let me ask this. Let me ask this to your fellow Cinema Squad members. Now that they officially added you, is that an official thing, fellas? Uh,
Oh, don't do this on them. Don't do this
Sean,
on them,
Dan,
honestly.
and John, are we officially putting Lisa in the Cinema Squad? Because I did put my banner up there saying that.
I'll tell you what, one of my favorite films is Misery, so can I be their number one fan? That'll do.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. But you much better looking than Kathy Bates, though.
Oh,
Um,
no, I love Kathy Bates. That's my cosplay outfit. The first Comic-Con I go to, I'm Kathy Bates.
are you
I
have you
love her.
been have you ever been to have you ever done
No,
cosplay?
no, because nobody, well, we get one here maybe every year, but there's never anyone there worth, there's never anyone decent. Whereas I look at what people are getting in England and America, it's like, oh my God, we never get we get people from like teen dramas like the Vampire Diaries or something, but we never get like proper stars over here. No chance. Not even people that were once stars years ago. We get crap, to be honest. But I will. My son wants to go to a Comic Con, so I will take him. You know, even if there's nobody, he's desperate to meet half the squad from Stranger Things, which I've told him. Unfortunately, you're not going to get them over here, but I will take him to one. And the minute I get to one, Kathy Bates is coming out. That's what's happening.
I'm just letting you know that as far as this goes. Oh, I gotta say this now. Now that he's in, now that they're all in here, Lisa knew about the IOC Midnights, fellas. She knew about that. She knew that I was that's my kryptonite.
I
See,
watched all those interviews, you see, that you did. I've watched all. You see, I hate that I never get to check things out live very often with time difference and having a kid and caring for my parents and stuff. But I do watch things back, and I have seen all of the Cinema Squad interviews, so I know how much you like IFC Midnight. And I looked up. I'm terrible with knowing who releases what. I'm awful, and they've done some amazing movies. I watched Relic a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, the week before, and it's amazing. I was blown away by it. And what
yeah.
was the other one? The Vigil is another one that they
What,
did.
did you cry during Relic? Did that movie make you cry a little bit?
Um, the end of it did.
Yeah.
I think it was just a really powerful way. When I talked about it on the weekly watch, I didn't say what it was symbolizing in case I hadn't seen it. But I tell you what was silly. I confused it with a movie called The Relic from maybe 15 years prior to that about a monster, and I thought I'd seen it. But I thought, no, hang on, that doesn't look familiar. The image on the front of the poster, I loved it. I just thought it was such a clever way to convey, something that so many people. It's like a real life horror, isn't it?
Yes.
It's something that we're all terrified of,
Yes.
and it was so clever. It was so cleverly
Mhm.
done, and it was genuinely creepy as well. Just putting yourself in that position. I know other movies have tried to do it, but they haven't approached it in the horror way, which I think was a really, really clever way to do it because it is horrific. It's terrifying. I loved it. I couldn't say enough good things about that movie.
Yeah, that's a movie that really will haunt you because it's so true to life. It's not
Mm.
supernatural. It's not spooky, or they use the elements of that to tell the story, but what they told the story of was it's a
It's
powerful movie.
just
I
that the fact, like at the end, well, I'll not say what happens at the end, but it's like the sort of way of conveying that she's lost the last of her. That's her gone, and it's been replaced by this now. Oh, it was really powerful. It was really strong. I thought it was fantastic. And it is the one
what
with the
movie
moldy old house. Somebody's at Professor Macabro.
oh,
Is
the
Relic,
professor.
it is this
Uh,
one,
is Relic the one about the moldy old house? Well, it's a lot more than that.
but it is that one.
Sean mentions the Vigil was so good. Yep,
It
and
was.
Watcher. I know I'm
Yes,
still trying to get Watcher. I went to watch Corsage, and I had to get the password back because I went in there and put it the one I had, and it didn't work. So I want to see Corsage really really bad.
haven't
Really,
seen that.
I'm
The
I'm
Watcher is good. I've seen that.
yeah, I'm waiting for the Watcher to drop. We watched I Trapped the Devil last Sunday for the ISC Midnight Show. We watched I Trapped the Devil. That was good. That was
That's
really good.
is that one about a basement?
Yes.
I haven't. I have to see that one. I started watching that and I can't remember what happened. I
Uh,
think I had a subscription to some streaming service that expired before I could finish. I can't remember, but I need to see that. That is one that I have a bit watched.
I watched it. I'm sitting there watching it, and I have to admit that I thought of our good friend Anthony from the Cinema Squad, and I'm going
Yeah,
like, Anthony would really like this movie a lot because it's so Twilight Zoney, but not too Twilight Zoney. But it definitely has some elements there to it, and I knew that he would love to. I knew he would love this movie. Um, See, look at this. See, look at this. Now I have to tell this because I don't think the rest of the Cinema Squad knows this. But recently, I did an A24. I counted out my A24 films. I have 38 A24 films in my collection.
38. Wow.
38. Don't say it like that. I'll never live that down now.
I didn't think you were a big fan of A24 Plus.
I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I don't know how it happened. I don't know how that happened, and I don't know how I seem to have gotten Kristen Stewart's every single movie. Every movie that she's done, somehow I have come across it accidentally.
You're a secret fan, obviously.
No, I have never gone out to get a Kristen Stewart movie. I have never. The only time I ever did, I did for one because I did Mike from American Werewolf in New Jersey. He said to he loved Personal Shopper, and Personal Shopper is an IFC film, so I knew I was going to get it anyway. So when Criterion had one of their 50% off sales, I did go out there and get Personal Shopper.
Right. Yeah.
But
Twilight. No, Twilight.
No, I don't. You know what? I think I have like. See. A24 is better than Red Eye. You mean Wild Eye? And I won't argue about
Wild Eye. No, the least said about Wild Eye, the better.
No Wild Eye. A24 has some great films and some duds. Now that's progress, Lisa, because a year ago those guys wouldn't have said that. But I think I've influenced them enough.
I struggle with working out what route of A24. I like quite a few A24 movies, but some of them I really don't. It's very hit and miss for me.
Right. I get that. What do you? I mean, you said you have a limited space. So, is there any particular director or star or boutique label or studio that you collect specifically?
Oh, see, labels and studios. This is where people think I'm not a real movie fan. I really don't care about labels. For me, if I like the movie, I like the movie. I love with directors. I do love Shyamalan. I know he's had some disasters, The Happening being one. But other than The Happening, I have enjoyed everything he's done. I love Quentin Tarantino. Now this is embarrassing, but I'll tell you this. I don't tell many people this. I didn't like Pulp Fiction, and it pains me. And I've watched it 4 times, and I've tried to like it, and it doesn't happen. It doesn't click with me, and I don't know why not, because I love Tarantino. I love Guillermo del Toro. Other than that, directors, I'm just not very good with knowing who's done what, to be honest. If I like it, I like it. I love Stephen King adaptations. I'm trying to think. I love Japanese, Korean horror. I'm a big fan of that. But when it comes to stars or anything, no. I'll watch anything that I like the sound of when I've seen. I try not to watch trailers, but I'll read the synopsis and see, do I fancy it? And then I'll go see it. Don't care who's in it, who's directed it, who's released it. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I tend not to do trailers either, except for IFC, because I'm signed up to them everywhere.
You know you're going to watch it, yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna see. Like Esther Sean says, screw labels. You are a true movie fan, Cinema Squad member.
I didn't think you would say that.
Yeah, well, of course. Now you're part. Now that you're coming out. Wow, you're sort of been outed. Oh my God, we outed Lisa as a Cinema Squad member. I
always feel so uneducated when I speak to movie fans on YouTube, because they know who released it, what director it is, who wrote the score. And I mean, they know all this stuff.
Oh my God, I can't remember how
they also released this, and I'm sitting thinking, I have no flipping idea.
I have no idea. I tell people, I've never even seen Pulp Fiction. How about that? I've never seen Pulp.
I'm in the minority. Everyone loves it, but I just can't gel with it, and it pains me. I want to, but it's just.
I've never even seen E.T. yet, even though.
Oh, that's like a dagger to the heart. You must watch E.T.
No, I've never watched E.T., but I have watched RoboCop.
Yeah, I like RoboCop. I haven't seen it in years, but I did like it when I first saw it. I'm not a big sci-fi fan. I like it. I didn't love it. I think with sci-fi, for me, Aliens. After that, I don't really. The rest of them weren't up to much, and The Fly. But other than that, Event Horizon, I don't watch much sci-fi. It's something I'm not really a big fan of.
I'm gonna help Ricky out there, because Ricky is one of Ricky's favorite movies. Mine too is RoboCop. So we went around after I first met Ricky and Pablo. It was all about Dick Jones. Because I used to watch when they first started, they did the review of it, and they said pretty much the whole video was Dick Jones. This made me laugh.
Ricky's not right. Ricky's a madman, an absolute madman. Have you
Yeah.
seen the challenge videos he's done, Patrick? Some of the stuff that he's
Have,
done on that channel.
what,
Oh my God, that
what's the
pizza.
craziest? What's the craziest thing that you? What's the three craziest things you've seen Ricky do on the channel? Number one, without a doubt, was that chili challenge.
Oh, for me, it was the pizza. Did you see what he put on the pizza?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Pardon. Oh, no. That for me was just,
Did you
what
see
are
what he
you
did you see
doing,
what he
man?
walked you down with?
Was it we?
It
I
was
don't want to say something crude. I'm
yeah,
sure it was. Oh,
yeah. He had the pizza and then he
he's
drank
not
his
right.
piss.
If you don't know what it was, he trimmed his nether regions and put it on the pizza and ate it, and then washed it down with whey. And I sat and I watched every bit of it and enjoyed every bit of it. I laughed my arse off. He's
The
not right.
chili challenge though had me crying. I was a half hour sitting there on
Yeah.
my couch. I was laughing so hard my ribs were I was so sore the next day
What's
because I was
wrong with
laughing
us?
my mouth off of the chili challenge.
We're just enjoying watching someone put themselves through complete hell, and we're sat laughing at him. Like, did you
Yeah, he
see
can't.
the egg one that he did recently?
Yeah, yes,
The
yeah.
funniest part of that was how long it took Pablo to peel the egg and how frustrated Ricky was getting waiting on it. That to me just was my favorite. That was better than them actually eating the egg for me.
Ricky is no longer allowed to do chili challenges, boys and girls. He
Is
is
he not?
no, he is not. He's not allowed. He's not allowed. He he might not want me to tell this, but I was sitting there thinking it was all fun and games until he told me that he ended up going to the hospital for 3 days.
Oh God, I'm sure. Did he say something? But I'm sure he said something about that. Now that you mention it. Oh my
I
God!
was
And
like,
there's us
I'm sitting
laughing
there,
at him as well.
yeah. I was laughing, and then all of a sudden he tells me that he says, "Yeah, I was, I was like, really, my wife was." I'm like, "Oh, that's not good. This is not good." I felt really bad, like, we're here, we are, we're encouraging it, like, do it again, Ricky. And then I find out that he was really hurt, and then I was like,
Oh,
"No, you're not allowed to do that. You can
no
do
more
so much.
chilies for you.
No
That's
more
it.
chili. No more chili." Oh, he didn't like that chili challenge. That's for sure. Have you ever done anything crazy like that? What's the craziest thing that you've ever done on a dare?
Absolutely nothing. I'm a very boring individual. I cannot think of anything that I just won't. I'm just not one. If someone dares me to do something, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I can't think. When I was a teenager, I would have done silly things, but nothing like putting pubes on a pizza and eating it. No, I've never done anything like that. Silly things like, I don't know. I remembered this was so embarrassing, and it's not even particularly entertaining. I stood on a wall once, and there was like a rope swing with like just the horizontal piece of stick that you would hang on to. And
Okay.
there was a boy I really liked. I was about 14, and we were all in a big group, and I thought it would be really impressive if I could dive off this wall and grab this. I don't know what would be impressive about that, but I missed, and it was a really high wall, and I landed flat on my face in just like a really big, wet, muddy. And after that, no, my life was very sedate. I wasn't going to do anything stupid again
Was
to
that your
impress
future
anyone.
husband you did that for?
No, no, it wasn't. He wasn't remotely interested in me, and I don't think that changed anything. Oh
Uh,
dear.
okay, so I gotta look because I'm looking over at your pops again. But do you have Black Phillip?
Who?
Do you have Black Phillip in
Is
your
that a
on your
goat?
Funko Pop?
No, is that a goat, or am I imagining things?
Oh, that's the goat. Yeah, from The Witch.
No. Oh, I haven't. I don't think I've seen The Witch.
Man,
I think I started watching it and I didn't like it. I'm embarrassed. Yes,
you gotta give
I
that one.
don't think
Yeah, you gotta watch that one. That one's really good.
I don't think I've seen it all. My favorite one is my. Can you see over here? This a little Frankenstein one. I think that's really sweet. I like that one. That's my favorite. He's got a little flower.
See, oh, Upside Down. He's got Black Phillip. Yes, you and Christy got Black Phillip. Christy from Nightmare Toys. I love Christy. She's such a sweetheart. I keep having her come onto the show just so I can ask her, does she score me a Black Phillip? No.
Nightmare Toys. I like the sound of that. What's Nightmare Toys?
Nightmare Toys is run by Christy, her partner, and one other gentleman. I think it's based in Las Vegas, and it's all things horror. Oh, it's
Right, I need to look that up. That sounds cool.
oh,
If I had lots of money, you know when people say if you won the lottery, if I won
right.
the lottery, see like the figures you can get, like horror figures, the statues and things. Oh my God, I covet them so badly, but I can't afford them. It's sad. But I would
No,
have a complete horror room with loads of like big statues and figures in.
see you're like one of us, Lisa, because that's me too. That's I can't do any of that. I can't when I see the boutique guys, they go out there and they do, hey, here's what's coming out on Vinegar Syndrome, and you go over there and they're like, okay, I'm gonna buy this for $50. And I'm like, $50? I could go to my library for the whole damn year and not
Mm.
spend $50. And,
I
and
used I used to have quite a big collect. I worked in a Blockbuster for years, and then I managed the same Blockbuster for about 3 years before it all went down the pan. And I had a massive collection, but I found that I wasn't watching it. I watched maybe once or twice, and all these movies, and I'm not watching them. They're just sitting there. I didn't get rid of them, well, I did when I moved from Ireland to England because there was just too much stuff to bring. But I don't. I think I haven't replaced collecting again because it's just stuff sitting there on the shelves taking up space that I'm never going to watch. I'll buy like favorite movies, stuff that I love that I know I will rewatch, but anything else I don't buy. I think when my son's old enough to move out, which will be quite a few years, I probably will be a little bit more self-indulgent when it comes to films and stuff. But now I neither have the space nor the money because it's having a child who's obsessed with Star Wars and superheroes and PlayStation 5s and Oculuses is an expensive bloody thing. So there's not much left over for me to indulge my hobby. But one day.
uh, do you have the Blockbuster? That was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know Blockbuster had gotten over to Ireland. Was it
Yeah.
Ireland or the UK you worked in?
In Ireland it's
Wow.
Blockbuster bought over. We had a franchise called Extravision. Blockbuster bought it. So I started off in Extravision, but it became Blockbuster. They bought it over. It's pretty much the same sort of, video rental, game rental, all that kind of thing. And I remember specifically someone saying the discussion happening, one day this will be obsolete. We won't exist because everything will be, even the word streaming wasn't even a thing. People will watch everything through the internet, and you'd laugh at that thought. So that's not going to happen. We're always going to be here. Why would someone pay loads of money to buy a thing before they've watched it? And now look what's happened.
Oh
It's
my,
that did happen, but I never thought it would.
yeah. We now I've said Sean just said the magic word. Yeah, you guys know me really well. He just says see or no. Yeah, because I absolutely love Haley Bennett. I
I
admit it.
bought that.
I'm addicted to Haley Bennett.
She's beautiful.
He is
You see, I'm
beautiful.
addicted to Peter Dinklage, so that's the only movie I bought in the last year was Cyrano because I fell in love with it. I love everything about that movie from
Yeah.
start to finish. I
I
adore it.
so I'm so they were talking about on her Instagram today. She commented that she got interviewed by, I guess, by Variety, and the title of the interview was, Hollywood's not interested in making me a star, and and the interview started off with the guy saying, well, what's your feelings of not being considered a star, right, to rise to become a big star? And I'm thinking, as I'm reeling up my sleeve here and getting ready to pack the Cheetah for a road trip, I was just thinking to myself how completely rude, how rude that was. And
I don't understand why. She
I,
was
I
wonderful in that. She's
she
such a
should have won. She
beautiful
should at
actress.
least, at the very minimum, in a perfect world, she should at least got an Oscar nomination for Swallow. Cyrano
I
was
didn't know that was her. I didn't put that together. Oh my God. Yes.
yeah,
I didn't. Sometimes my brain doesn't work right, and I didn't put. I've seen Swallow. I didn't put that together at all.
yeah, it's
There
another
you
Ivy
go.
film.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And then Cyrano, MGM put all their money on another movie, so they didn't campaign because it's Oscars all about payola, but they didn't put any effort into promoting it. They moved the movie around like 7 or 8 different start times. So by the time it came out, nobody knew where it was, unless nobody went and saw it, and it was just absolutely atrocious.
I think you had to really seek that one out if you wanted to see it, didn't you? I mean,
Yeah,
with you being a big Haley Bennett fan and me being a big Peter Dinklage fan, I went to, sort it out to see it, but I don't even think we got that. Did I see that in the cinema? I'm trying to remember if I saw that in the cinema or I streamed it, and I can't remember. I think I streamed it. I don't think we got that in the cinema here, which is
uh,
ridiculous.
thank you for coming out, Ricky. Thank you so much for your support.
Thanks, Ricky.
Ricky's the best. I just told me he's not allowed to do anything any more
Well,
crazy stuff.
no more of that, or we shan't laugh at you. We shan't watch your videos if you're going to hurt yourself.
I'm afraid if we kept on doing that, I would get a knock one day at the door, and it'd be his wife. And Lord knows I wouldn't want to face a Ricky's wife saying, "Are you the bloke that kept on making him do all these chili challenges?"
Oh, dear me.
Oh gosh! And here comes Ricky's best friend. Gareth is in the house.
Video taste is good. Ricky's gone.
Ricky, Gareth, and Voss together on one room, just quality entertainment. Seriously, those guys, they should have their own. They should have their own show. You guys,
mates hanging. That's what you want.
I just want to see those two. I just want to see those 3 guys in one room. So what's new for your channel? I'll ask you a couple more questions. I don't want to keep you too late. Okay. So talk to us about the Watch Weekly. How much do you watch every week, and how did you come up with the concept? Oh, and Kalel wanted to know when you started your channel. What got you into your channel?
Oh, that's loads it right. First, most people come into YouTube because they get to know other people and watch their content. Weirdly, I started because a friend of mine and his wife used to do a thing called Vlogmas. And I live in Ireland, they live in England, so we couldn't physically see one another. So it was really nice to watch what they were getting up to, preparing for Christmas. I love Christmas. I'm a big Christmas person.
I think she.
Oh, bye, Dan. Ooh. And I said, next Christmas I'm going to do this. And that's where I started, just doing something. I think my first video was what I got for Christmas. And then I started finding movie reviewers everywhere and a whole community. It's like, what's going on with this? I didn't know this existed. And I slowly got into talking to people into movies. I've always loved to watch movies, but I didn't think I could talk about it online. So I started doing what most other people do, just reviewing individual movies that I'd seen. I think as time's going on, I just don't get as much. Let's say I care for my parents a lot, so I don't get as much time to do loads of videos. So I thought, right, well, I'll do one a week and talk about what I've watched. Just say very little, just a wee bit about what I've watched. I didn't want to go down the route of doing true crime or sort of creepy stories or something, but it's getting the time. You have to research so much stuff to do that, and I want to get back into that, but it doesn't take any time just to chat about what you've watched in the last week. And movies is something I'm always going to do. I'm always going to watch movies. I'm always going to enjoy talking to people. I think what we all have in common is people that we know in real life don't tend to be as obsessive as us about talking about movies, about how much stuff we've watched, about what we liked and didn't like, and they're not really interested in talking about it. That's somebody saying, oh, somebody's just sent me a text that says book now for The Whale. That's good news.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I started doing it because it was someone to talk to about movies when everyone that I knew in real life was sick to death of me talking about it. So that's why I started, and I wish that would stop now. Hang on, let me switch that off. Yeah, but that was it. It was just having people to I've never really been about growing the channel or about getting to a certain number, or it's just connections with people. It's just, I love getting to speak to people in different parts of the world and getting little glimpses. When people talk about movies, they'll tell you little bits about their life, or you maybe have them on Facebook or Instagram. So you get little windows into all these different people's, their lives, their culture, where they live. And that's what I love about YouTube. It's getting to know people.
Your channel is really grown. I mean, you're well over 2,000 subs. I mean, it seems like it's growing every time I go over there to peek. It's like you seem to add like 20 or 30 people. I
I
do
don't know
think
how
that
that's
people really enjoy what you do and how you
I
present it.
don't know. I don't get it. I don't, and it's fantastic, but I think my ratio of people that watch to people that subscribes very, you see a number and you think, oh, that person's got a lot of subscribers, but nowhere near that watches. I mean, Ricky's a good example from Old AF Reviews. His subscriber count and his view count is the closest I've ever seen. He gets so many views. So I think like the number of subscribers that I have it's a tiny little proportion of that actually watch my videos. If I do like a true crime video, it gets thousands of views. If I do a weekly watch, I'm lucky if it even gets near 100 views, which it doesn't usually. It usually gets, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70 views. But you say I'm not bothered about, it's just that little community of people that I've got to know. And to me, that's all that matters is just, have you seen this? What did you think of this? Or try this out. It's getting recommendations and it's chatting about stuff you've seen. That's the part I love. The subscriber count, I've no idea who's subscribing and why. They're certainly not watching, but yeah, it's as
Yeah, I
long
don't
as
know. I don't get that either. I mean, it's getting better for me a little bit as far as that goes. I mean, my view counts are going up now, but before I would put out something and I get like 20.
yeah,
Now I put it out there and now it's like, it's getting up to 50, 60, 80 and I'm like, "Oh, okay. So people
mm,
are starting to find it. So how do I keep them coming back?"
yeah, that's it.
Everyone wants me to everybody keeps on telling me you should do A24 stuff, and I'm going like, well, haven't you guys been out here on Sunday? I've done a lot of A24 stuff. Didn't you know? And they're going like, oh, I says, yeah, you got to come out and see. I'm
Yeah,
out there. I'm out there doing it.
there's so
Uh,
much content, isn't there? That's the thing. It's like, so many people are out there and you want to support your friends and you want to watch everything and it's really hard, isn't it? And that's
the
why I
more
understand,
subs, yeah, the more subs you get, the harder it is. I
yeah,
just tell people to make a playlist and put
I
your
that's
favorite
what I do.
channel down in there. So once a week you can go visit their channel so you can keep up with what they're doing.
Yeah.
It helps you keep a list of the people you have.
I've
If
got a
you have
watch later list and it's ridiculous. I actually got through most of it recently, but it just grows. You see, I go through all my subscriptions every day and I like watch, add to watch later. And I'll sit and like on an evening, I'll game and I'll sit and like half watch, but be listening to the videos at the same time, or I'll put them on the TV sometimes. But it's hard to get everything watched, isn't it? It's really difficult to get through them all.
yes. Let's see. Garrett says, I got a question from Sean. When is Lisa going to Disneyland?
In August of this year, and I cannot wait. I've only
You
been
know,
to America once. That was a few years ago. We went to Disney World. Is it Disney World or Disneyland? The one in Florida. And I always said it would be a one-time only thing because it's so expensive. And I
yeah,
don't just mean expensive to get in. When you're coming from Ireland, the flights themselves, I think our flights for three of us cost almost £3,000. It's shocking. But it takes me, well, us like about 4 years to save up enough to be able to go. So I said, right, this is a once only thing, never again. We'll go once. And it was so amazing. We sort of decided, do we want to have like a local trip away each year that's cheap? Or do we want to do nothing for 4 years and save to go back to Florida? So we decided to save to go back. So we're going back in August. I can't wait.
well, this time there'll probably be there was a Cinema Squad meeting in Disneyland. So I
Yes.
heard that they're going to do it again. So I'm thinking that's going to happen in August.
Oh,
Um,
I doubt it. They want to avoid me. I'll be there with my Annie Wilkes mallet.
I think
Oh,
every one of them,
I
I think
have to
every
see.
one of them
Jonathan
be.
lives there, though.
You know what it is? Every single one. That's how you'll know where they're at. You say, "How do I find the Cinema Squad?" Well, you just look for six males that rolled up their right pant leg and exposed their ankle. That's how you find them. Because Oh,
Oh,
there's an
dear.
ankle. Okay. Have mallet will travel.
Exactly.
Lisa, I want to thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with us.
Not a
This is
problem. It's a
way
pleasure.
overdue. Way overdue. Definitely want to have you come back. And I had
Yes,
an
yes, I
absolutely
do.
blast. Uh, Thank you for being brave enough to talk about our big issue and
Not a problem.
sharing the life in Ireland and marking down all those IFC movies that I suggested. See,
Yes, I will check those out.
uh, so everybody else in the chat, you guys, I'm sorry, I've not really been attentive to that, but I will go back and rewatch the whole show and comment on your comments because you guys have been blowing it up today. This is only the first of two shows. I will be back tonight at our regular time, 8 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Pacific. We will be talking to tarot card reader Anna Thiesel.
Ooh,
You also know her as Cass Love. I will be talking to her. I know. I'm excited for that. I got like a couple of people that want to get read already.
I'm into all that stuff. I love all that stuff.
I yeah, she's phenomenal. She's the real deal. I've
Awesome.
watched her several times, and because there's a lot of them out there, but you can always tell the ones that aren't really they don't have gift,
Hmm.
just the ones that do, and she definitely does. And I'm
Awesome. I shall
really
watch that back tomorrow.
that's gonna be a lot of fun. So we'll be talking to Anna tonight at 8 o'clock. Tomorrow, Thursday, we have Angela from Morbid Heart Designs. Um,
Ooh, love Angela.
Angela's so sweet. She's so sweet. This is the first time I had her on. She was my third guest. So
Angela's lovely.
she's
Really nice human.
very lovely young lady. And I will be joined, hopefully if he feels better, I will be joined by special co-host Hobbs Horror. Uh,
Lovely.
yeah, Hobbs will be with me tomorrow night, and we'll be talking to Angela about her art and her journey. She's had an incredible
Yeah.
medical journey, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow as
Get her
well.
talking about her pole fitness as well. That's really interesting. She's doing like a pole fitness journey, and she's amazing. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos of her doing pole dancing, but she's amazing.
Yeah, she's getting stronger and stronger.
Mhm.
And she's just trying to regain all her strength that she did because she went through clinicals. She's been really
Yeah.
open about her medical journey, and
Hmm.
she was talking about how she's doing clinical trials for different drugs and whatnot. I think that's incredibly brave too. So,
Yeah.
thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for embracing Lisa as a member of the Cinema Squad. This is awesome. I got 6 down, 1 to go. And Joe, we're coming for you. Um, Lisa, you stay right where you're at to the
Yep.
chat. I love you guys. Thanks for coming out for the support.
Thanks,
This has been
guys.
a lot of fun. Thanks, Gareth. Gareth, I interviewed Gareth too. He's a really good interview. We'll see you guys tonight at 8 o'clock. Those who can make it. Otherwise, watch the replay.
Thanks,
Peace.
guys.